Welcome everybody. Just before we actually drink the cacao, I wanted to really dedicate this week's theme to how we deal with challenging stuff that's affecting us all. So here in the UK and in Europe, everybody's like, Brexit, 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 what's going on? And each person in this room is learning to be a conscious being, is learning how to walk on this earth consciously rather than on autopilot. One of the ways you really test how conscious you are is engaging with the mainstream and how they talk about things. So if you're exposing yourself to newspapers, to the news, to chat in the playground, just notice what you're saying, okay? Notice how you're talking about things. Because we have an opportunity when there is a collective issue to raise the frequency or to lower it. And in yoga, we come to raise our frequency, right? We come to become more aware of ourselves and to create greater grace and ease in our bodies. If you come to me, you know we're working with optimal alignment, divine design, bringing in our soul light into our physical bodies. And when we use our words, we are either energizing something that we want to co-create or we are energizing something we don't want to co-create. So we've talked about toxic words, and by that I mean words that imply lack consciousness. So have to, must, worry, should, what else is there? Trying, that's the word that I just most want to ban from the English language. But essentially the question I have for you to contemplate is how can what's going on with this whole Brexit saga be the best thing that's ever happened to us as a nation and to Europe as a collective and to the world at large? Like how? We might not know how. How can this be the best thing that's ever happened and what good can come of it? At the moment, it's very easy to slate the government, to basically hate on people, to worry about all the terrible things that are going to happen. And all that's doing is putting us into a place of lack. So we have an opportunity to consider what good can come of this. And when you're actually looking at the details of a deal, yeah, it's about take the best, leave the rest. Now, we wouldn't be in this position if being part of Europe, as the other European Union members are, was the right thing for us, right? At the same time, completely separating ourselves, no one can do that. Right? We don't live in that isolation. No woman, no man, no being is an island. So the question is, how do we want to engage with our neighbours? And in your life and in my life, that relates to how do we engage with the people closest to us? How do we engage with the people on the borders, either side of our house, in front of us and behind us? And we show up in our lives consciously with the intention of raising that vibe. And we are then able to make this something different to what it could be. Did any of you go on the march on the weekend? Quite a lot of people I know did go.
I didn't go, I just heard that.
You heard?
Yeah. Millions.
Your dad went.
Sorry. My dad went, and I wish I'd known he was going, so I would have gone.
You would have gone as well?
Yeah, but he said it was the most amazing atmosphere he's ever experienced.
Oh, getting a chill as you say that, you know?
I thought it was incredible.
It creates solidarity, right? When something like this happens, it creates solidarity. And in the end, the more certain we are of what we want, the more we can co-create that. But the more we feel the power is outside of us and we have no voice, the more we energise that. So which do you want to be true? Today, which do you want to be true? Are we powerful or powerless? I'm on the powerful front. Join me. Hands up, please. Thank you. All right. So we do not contribute to that nonsense. Okay? If you hear it around you, remind people that through their words they're co-creating something. What do they want to co-create? And the warriors, the blamers, yeah, the judges. Do we want to be one of those? I would like a government I can feel proud of. I believe it's possible that we can actually engineer that as humanity, that every nation can have a government that we're proud of. But we're going to have to elect what that means. And if we want that, we have to take responsibility. We do a lot of giving our power away to governments, to institutions, to the hospitals, to, you know, all the different sort of authorities. And yet none of them have the answer. So the more we become autonomous, the more that we are then going to have a government that reflects that, because we're willing to take responsibility. We're not going to keep blaming outside. I don't want to get too into the politics of whether we should have governments or not, but in this instance, it's making people care. It's making people think about it, talk about it, contemplate what they would like. But it's never either or. It's and this and more. So how can we be a part of something that works for us and works for those around us? And how can we also maintain our sovereign state, our individuality, and our personal consciousness as part of a collective? Because there is a balance that needs to be met. And the more that we allow ourselves to dream what we want, the more we can create it. It's all in the field. But you are either plugging into fear or you're plugging into love and trust. And it's all coexisting at the same time. So if you can just take that on yourself today as a discipline, a discipleship. We're learning to catch ourselves out when we are feeding stories we don't want. Anytime you feel you have no power, anytime you feel that there's nothing you can do, you've dropped back into the ego story, okay? We are more powerful than we realise. And our magic is what we create together and with Mama Cacao. So let's just bring that to our hearts. Through our yoga, what this really is about aligning with the divine, aligning with the highest good, aligning with the win-win-win for everybody. So the win for England, the win for Europe, the win for the world. And as we practice our yoga on our mat and we bring our mindfulness to the areas where we are blind and we have our own personal breakthroughs, we bring light to the darkness wherever it is. So we invite Mama Cacao to support us, to bring balance and harmony in every area of our lives where we feel too scared to look at the details, where we just see a big mess and we don't know where to start, where we feel we don't have the information necessary. When we invite the brain to entrain with the heart, we can't get it wrong. But until we do that, the heart is entraining with the brain, and that's where it all goes wrong. So we invite Mama Cacao today to support us to entrain the brain with the heart's sensory cells that know and can connect with the highest good and what is most auspicious for us all. To activate this intention, we send the sound Ma into the earth, Om into the universe, and from our hearts out to each other. Deep breath in. A lovely deep breath and then just bow to the wisdom of your beautiful heart. Slowly open your eyes. Remember, we all have higher selves, okay? We have lower selves. So let's energize the higher self of everyone involved in this decision-making process for the very best outcome, okay, of everything. And to care and to follow what we care. So in our yoga today, we're focusing on the foundation, how we show up in the posture, and how we build from that, okay? So we'll be looking at opening to grace, muscular energy, and organic energy to a large extent, okay? So drink up and we'll get going.